Brand new trend. 4.0 is men elevating men. 4.0 is setting a new trend. 4.0, 4.0, 4.0. 4.0, 4.0, 4.0. 4.0, 4.0, 4.0. 4.0, 4.0, let's go. 4.0, let them hoes in the job. Welcome in, everybody. Welcome in, welcome in, welcome in. Hot off the presses, everybody. Hot, 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 hot off the presses, man. I just got it fresh in, man. R. Kelly has been sentenced, man, to 30 years. This is horrible, man. You know, we've been watching this case from the beginning. We've been watching the R. Kelly case from the beginning. We've been watching R. Kelly from when we watched the Bill Cosby case. This has been something that we've been following for some time now. So I'm going to show a couple videos about what actually happened today in court. I'll open the panel if anybody want to discuss it, and then we're going to talk about the pre-show tomorrow. I got a show set up, Black Conservative Speaks podcast, brand new podcast I'm launching tomorrow, Black Conservative Speaks. We're going to actually go over the Clarence Thomas opinion, a lot of discussion today. I see a lot of YouTubers doing the show that Roger and I did this morning. I actually did the video yesterday. Roger actually just shared the video on Roger Report Live. So please, you guys, if you're not subscribed to the Roger Report Live, get over there, subscribe. My name is Perfect. This is the Perfect Timing Podcast. I'm simulcasting live via StreamYard Live right now. I'm broadcasting live on 3 channels at the same time. Thank you, StreamYard. Thank you to paying my bills on time. I'm live on Perfect Timing Podcast. That's what you're watching me on right now. I'm also live at the same time on Perfect Timing Podcast Live, just like my brother Roger. 2 YouTube channels, Perfect Timing Podcast Live. You can find me on the mornings on Roger Report. Check me out on the Roger Report Live. Roger just shared my show from yesterday. Thank you, brother, for sharing my show. I'm also live on Facebook under Patrick Potter. Y'all let me know. As soon as I get a blue wrench in the audience, I need my blue wrenches to make sure that my audio is good because I got a brand new microphone. And yesterday, my microphone cut off midstream. So anybody with a blue wrench, any 5.0 Cool Table representative, keep me on point with my audio. I really appreciate it. Today, we're talking about R. Kelly being sentenced to 30 years. And I got a couple videos I want to play. Then we're going to break out and then we're going to have a discussion. So basically what ended up happening, and we heard about it. I want to show I'll show a video of before trial, then we're going to show a video after trial, actual sentencing, and then we're going to discuss what we found. What we discussed before is that we had Bill Cosby lawyer. We had Bill Cosby lawyer actually on this channel, and Bill Cosby lawyer said that R. Kelly would be getting out on appeal. I actually presented to you before Choke No Joke. I actually presented to you R. Kelly's appeal attorney is the same appeal attorney that Bill Cosby had. And on this channel, we showed you why the RICO Act was not permissible for the R. Kelly trial. At the same time, R. Kelly being sentenced in the same court, You got Ghislaine Maxwell being sentenced, and they don't even like us when we say that name, but we're saying it anyway today. See, look, they don't like that name, but we're going to talk about these things, whether or not the algorithm is going to be nice to us or not is going to be up to the algorithm. It's going to be up to you and whether you share and support the show. So I need you to share and support the show. That's what I'm going to do right now. Share my show on Facebook and a couple other places. So again, when we share the show, I understand that some of the content that we present, me and the Cool Table, can be provocative, right? So if you have a Facebook channel and you may not feel comfortable sharing every discussion, even let's say you participate in a discussion. Let's say you participated in this morning's discussion, and you may be a black woman, or you may be someone who lives in the house with your mom. You may not want to share the content on your personal Facebook channel. What I've instructed people to do is join the Facebook groups. They have different groups on Facebook for Black YouTube content creators, for content creators for YouTube podcasts and things of that nature. So what we would ask you to do is share the content in those Facebook groups, because we understand that some of the subject matter can be sensitive. We can't be sensitive for much longer with the seriousness of what's going on in the world today. So we're gonna have to, put on our big girl drawers and our big girl panties and step up to the plate of what has to be done today. So we're sharing the show on Twitter, and you do the same right now. You know, about sharing the show, I saw a popular YouTuber. I thought I was the only one at this small level, because I'm still growing. And I thought I was the only one at this small level who shared the show on Facebook and pushes out the show the way I push out the show. But I saw another really big YouTuber, in the beginning of his YouTube, sharing the show in the same way that I share my show. So I'm like, that inspired me to continue to share the show, continue to support myself, you know what I'm saying? Love myself. So Chadwick Boseman died without a will. Shout out to Alonzo Hall, the financial all-star. So let's get into some video. Let's get into some video. Where's my laptop is rocking and rolling. All right, all right, all right. The laptop is rocking and rolling. Let's get into some video. R. Kelly sentenced to 30 years, man. Breaking news, man. It's horrible, man. Let's see what they talking about, man. So this video right here is before the sentencing. You know what I'm saying? Because people love video. Shout out to the Law and Crime channel. They've been good to us, man. The Law and Crime channel been good to us, man. Let me cut my camera. Make sure my audio is good. Yeah, my audio is good. I can see myself. All right. So hey, Big Daddy Beard Promotions, man. What's up, man? What's up? How you doing, brother? Good to see you in the building, man. Hey, everybody, make sure you subscribe to my brother Big Daddy Beard Gaming. It's a lot of in this black manosphere. What's up, KNC and Red? In this black manosphere, there's a lot. We have like I just said, shout out to Alonzo Hall, financial all-star, because I just read that Chadwick Boseman, Black Panther, died without a will. You don't want to die without a will. My mama died without a will, and it's been hell for me and my brothers as far as to deal with her estate. Alonzo Hall could help you with that. Shout out to Alonzo Hall, financial all-star. We got brothers like Big Daddy Beard Gaming in the black manosphere. He does what he does. Games, gaming nights. So you're a father, you got family, you know what I'm saying? There's different places and avenues for you to land in the black manosphere, in this black YouTube space with black men and black fathers. So that's why I support that brother. My brother Ken C and Red, aka House Phone. He's an entrepreneur and a girl dad. You know what I'm saying? His daughter just graduated college. Much props to my brother Ken C and Red. I love him. He supports every day, man. Hey Ken, man, keep me on point with my audio, man. Make sure my audio is good, man. We got brothers that deal with finances, brothers that deal with gaming, brothers that deal with we got lawyers in this space. You know what I'm saying? Brothers that deal with self-help, like myself, self-help gurus. You got brothers that deal with health and food. You know what I'm saying? Brothers that deal with the psychology. You got the complex designs, the raw L's that dealing with the mental health aspect. Rael has helped me and my wife with mental health, the narcissistic wife, the narcissistic mother. So it's a lot of different places to go in this manosphere to get support, help, and education. Today, just a real quick live on R. Kelly being sentenced to 30 years, man. 5.0, 5.0, 5.0. Yeah, I just heard about this too. So this is breaking news, man. I didn't plan to do this live stream. I didn't know that the verdict was going to come out today. But I've got a live stream tomorrow at 12. Black Conservative Speaks. launching a new podcast. It's going to be like part 2 to conservative versus liberalism. And we're going to actually read Clarence Thomas' opinion. But today we're talking about R. Kelly. And let's see what this video got to say about the sentencing. And then we're going to play a video because I believe R. Kelly will be released on appeal. Just like Bill Cosby. I believe R. Kelly will be released on appeal. If you haven't been following, I've been following the YSL RICO case. I've been following the YSL RICO case in Atlanta, right? So the Atlanta RICO case is brought on by a state district attorney. R. Kelly RICO case was a federal RICO case. But in that same court, same charges for that white woman, and there was no RICO case. So R. Kelly, there's a lot of problematic things in the case with this verdict. So I believe that this is not over. And I'm going to play a video from a lawyer that's going to tell you the same thing. I believe R. Kelly will be released on appeal, right? Because R. Kelly is innocent, and this is double jeopardy, and they violated his rights. The way they violated his rights is they used the RICO Act the same way this district attorney in Atlanta is illegally using the RICO to prosecute Young Thug and Gunna. They illegally used the RICO to prosecute R. Kelly. Let's go to the video.
Gillespie was at the Brooklyn courthouse to be our eyes and ears. Remember, Kelly was charged with sex trafficking and racketeering in his federal trial last year, although he did not take the stand in his own defense. He pleaded not guilty to all of the charges against him. We have Sierra here with us now while the court takes their lunch break to bring us the latest. Thank you so much for joining us, Sierra. Sierra, please give us an update on what's going on.
Yeah, Michelle, thank you so much for having me. The biggest thing we've heard so far today are the 8 victim impact statements that were very incredibly emotional. Multiple women and even the father of one of the survivors came forward and spoke in front of R. Kelly, detailing years of abuse, a lot of crying, a lot of people struggling to get through, but all in the end saying today is a day for justice, that R. Kelly needs to receive the maximum sentence. Now, in the courtroom today, it is nearly filled. There are dozens of reporters, spectators, multiple courtrooms and overflow courtrooms are filled today. But when Judge Donnelly announced that all of R. Kelly's charges could equate a lifetime sentence, there was an audible gasp in the courtroom. So R. Kelly today, later after this lunch break, could be handed down a life sentence.
Sierra, tell us a little bit more about the victim impact statements.
Yeah, Michelle, these were really emotional for a lot of the women to get through, and even for a spectator to listen on. They detailed what they called modern day slavery. They said that they were enticed by R. Kelly, who promised them fame. A lot of them were hoping to become celebrities themselves, who were aspiring singers, young underage girls, many of which in the Miami area, who Kelly reached out to. And at first they thought, okay, this is a mentorship program. I'm going to learn something. And instead, it's what they called modern day slavery. A lot of them said they had been diagnosed with depression, trauma, PTSD, and a lot of them said that Kelly does not show any sign of remorse. This is something that multiple of the victims, or survivors, I should say, touched on. They said they believe that Kelly has a God complex, that he used this to groom young women, girls, boys for his own sexual gratification. And many of them said he shows no empathy even today. They pointed to him, even one of the survivors said, hey, you know what? I can see Kelly over at that table and he's talking to his attorneys. I'm going to wait. I don't want to interrupt his conversation. So many of them felt that they were still being disrespected by R. Kelly even today at his federal sentencing.
Sierra, now I know one of the victims' father spoke out. What did he have to say?
So this was kind of interesting. One of the victims who came forward, Faith, she initially said, I'm not going to speak at all. But after she heard some of the really strong emotional statements from some of the other survivors, she came forward and spoke. So her father, Charles, spoke after that, and he said, you know what, I'm not here to criticize R. Kelly. What I want him to know is I'm speaking to him father to father. I know that he has children. I know that he has a daughter. What I want is for him to think about how it would feel if someone did this to his daughter. A lot of people, including this father who gave this victim impact statement, kept pointing to Faith and saying, I really hope you can find Faith that you can find the Lord and find a way in your heart to forgive yourself.
Okay, I can't. Okay, that's enough. That's enough of that. I'll play the rest, but that's enough of that. Let me make sure that my audio is good. That's enough of that. Okay, my audio is good, man. I cannot listen to that no more. Modern day slavery, like this is the perfect time of podcast. It's fathers first. I am a girl dad. This is just ridiculous. The railroading and the way we play crab in the barrel and the way we hate each other. How these black women are still lying in the courtroom. How that father is still lying, still trying to make money, still trying to sell a book in court today. I'm tired of this R. Kelly bullshit. It's been 20 motherfucking years. This is the same goddamn crackhead dad who was arrested, been in jail, following this nigga around for 20 years, trying to make some money off another man. He ain't never been able to sing. He ain't never had another motherfucking talent in his motherfucking life. He's made his whole life and career off of this goddamn man and a grown-ass woman who fucked a grown-ass man. He never fucked no 13-year-old. He never fucked no 12-year-old. He's all 17, 18, 19-year-old full-fledged whores. Whores who on file, on tape, tracked him down. I can't believe these bitches got in court and said modern day slavery. What did I say when I said this case? How the fuck is it modern day slavery when these bitches came from a Chicago project? We just showed a video this morning of a bitch like the bitches R. Kelly was fucking. You understand what I'm saying? The bitch was in public housing. The bitch had 4 kids. The bitch get $1,000 a month of food stamps and still threw the food on the goddamn street. This is the type of bitch that R. Kelly was fucking. R. Kelly wasn't fucking no goddamn debutantes. There was no motherfucking PhDs on that goddamn list. All of these bitches was black hood rats from Chicago and low-level gutter ghetto situations. He put these no good bitches in a mansion in Atlanta. These no good ghetto bitches who ain't never seen no parts of any affluence. And this is her daughter testifying. I'm talking about the bitch who wrote a book, the black bitch that Choke No Joke show, the black bitch that spoke in court today. Remember when she spoke? She said that she could leave when she wanted to. She said she showed up to the R. Kelly house and she stayed there for a month and then she left. How the fuck was it modern day slavery? The slaves couldn't leave, yo. How is it modern day slavery when the slaves couldn't leave? How is it modern day slavery when the slaves didn't read? When she has a book and she testified that she was able to leave. You know what? How I broke this case apart. You know why R. Kelly coming home with this modern day slavery shit? That's why I stopped it. That's what pissed me off. Because I broke down from the TMZ video what actually was going on in Atlanta. If you recall, this same father came to Atlanta and removed his daughter from the house. He not only removed his daughter from the house, he removed the couches, they stole the televisions, and I played the video. See, R. Kelly was broke. We didn't find this out till after he got sentenced and found guilty. R. Kelly was broke. Remember that? R. Kelly signed over everything to Aaliyah mama. So R. Kelly was never at the mansion. If you recall, the female in question would fly back home. She got a Mercedes. She came home with $20,000. She would do sex games and drinking games. She said they would have sex games when R. Kelly came home off a tour, and R. Kelly would give them thousands of dollars and send them shopping thousands of dollars at a time. She got a Mercedes and she went on trips. Her 17-year-old daughter, just like the bitch in the video where we play on Roger today, the bitch in question has several kids. She left her kids to go be with R. Kelly, and she left her 17-year-old daughter in charge of her kids. Her 17-year-old daughter is on video and on tape testifying to the fact that when the bitch was gone, she left me, a minor, to take care of the kids. These are the type of bitches that R. Kelly was fucking. The type of bitches that would fuck him at the same time with other strange bitches. The type of bitches that waited in line. R. Kelly was broke. He was on tour 300 out of 365 days a year. If you remember James Brown, if you remember any artist that I've talked about, the game is going around doing all of these shows because the game got found guilty by that woman in a court. Mike Tyson did all those movies. Do y'all know why Mike Tyson did all those movies? The same reason why 50 Cent filed for bankruptcy, Do y'all know that Mike Tyson was found liable in a multi-million-dollar lawsuit from one of them bitches? So Mike Tyson was $20 million in debt, and everything Mike Tyson did went to that estate. Y'all, did y'all know that? A lot of people don't know that Mike Tyson didn't make any money for the past 10 years. All the money from the Hangover movies, all the money from all the stuff that Mike Tyson did, he didn't get any of that money. All of that money went to that settlement in that lawsuit. This is not a joke. This is not a joke. Those families were there to testify, and that no good ass father was there because he's still looking for money. So what they're going to do is, after this conviction, even though R. Kelly is broke, you're going to see some lawsuits. You're going to see some lawsuits, because this is what black people do to black people. I'm so sick and fucking tired of this shit, man. This is why I'm doing this conservative shit tomorrow. That's why I'm doing my conservative shit tomorrow. Like, black people, man, I'm done, man. Black people, we don't give a fuck about each other, man. There is, like with the black people, it's fucked up. Like, these liberal policies. Did y'all see the video of that black woman? You see the video of that black woman? I had to point out the fact that she was on Section 8, that she's in public housing, and with 4 kids, you get up to $1,000 a month. Hey, to everybody listening, so on the Roger Report, yesterday y'all saw my video, right? And I talked about how 4 kids is $1,000 in food stamps. Guess what a black woman said today on the Roger Report? She said, she corrected me. She said she knows somebody with 7 kids, and she got up to $1,500 in food stamps. $1,500, and you run out of food. And you are bold enough, after mismanaging $1,500 in food stamps, free rent, and potentially cash aid from 4 different fathers, you bold enough to put the shit on tape. So if anybody thinking, why would these women lie? All you got to do, see, black men, we don't understand the power of these videos that we've seen in these last couple days. Because a lot of people, when I get so passionate about this, they don't understand why would the women in R. Kelly case lie? Why would the women in Bill Cosby case lie? Well, now you see the type of bitches that they are. You see the bitch in the video from throwing the guys. You know what happened? The child did not get to see his father, and the child did not get food, and that bitch mismanaged over $1,000 in food stamps when she got free rent. Just so you understand the type of bitches that's lying on R. Kelly. The type of bitch who would stay in a mansion in Atlanta, and while her children are being babysat by her teenage daughter, right? And she would fuck a man who was fucking 3 other people in that house, and he would take turns fucking these women in the house. How is that modern day slavery when R. Kelly was so broke that he was required to be on tour 300 out of 365 days a year? He was never in that house. He was to the point where I showed a video where his same father came and took his daughter out of the house. See, the reason he was able to do that is because the father gave the children to R. Kelly. Just like Aaliyah mama fucked R. Kelly, and then brought Aaliyah to fuck R. Kelly, and then arranged a marriage for R. Kelly to marry her daughter in exchange for his masters. R. Kelly is broke today because of the deal he made to purchase Aaliyah from Aaliyah's mother. Everybody knows this. Everybody knows this. R. Kelly never slept with a woman. R. Kelly never slept with a lady. R. Kelly never slept with a virgin, a person of virtue. R. Kelly only liked whores. If you look at the video, he wants to eat your ass. He wants to piss on you. He wants to do nasty, freaky 12 play. What's the name of the song? 12 play. 12 play. R. Kelly wants to do 12 play. And this is the other thing about R. Kelly. He only liked black women. Think about this. R. Kelly loved black women, and he loved making love to black women. And how did black women pay him back? By saying that he was some type of slave enforcer. All he ever did was sing and try to please black women. The women in question all got paid for their services. She went home with a Mercedes-Benz and thousands of dollars. There was nobody they got food delivered to them every day. Okay, for everybody listening who may not understand my passion, think about the times that you're living in now, Oh my God. I want to scream, but I don't want to blow up my microphone. I'm going to just do it. Hey, Ken, I'm going to do it like this. Woo! Shout out to Charles Faulkner. One more time. Woo! Okay, everybody. Coming up in the next couple months, ground beef is going to be $20 a pound. To get like affordable meat and food, you're probably going to have to go to McDonald's. No one's going to be able to afford in a regular salary to go shopping at the supermarket. Supermarket is going to become a luxury because everything in the supermarket is going to become so expensive, right? So just to put in context why Perfect Timing is so passionate, the way that these black women were living with R. Kelly in that mansion, they had air conditioning, they had cable, they had Uber Eats delivered to them every day. She testified that she was not required to cook or clean. All her food was paid for, all her clothing was paid for at a very high level. Imagine what's coming up for everybody, the reality that Americans were living in, and the reality that these women got to live in under what they call slave conditions. Is anybody listening to what I'm saying to you? They call how they were living slave conditions. Imagine what people are going to be facing in the next 6 months. And they put R. Kelly in prison for 30 years. Think about what I'm saying. It's going to be impossible to buy meat and chicken. It's going to be so expensive. And these women receive free food, shopping sprees, and cash influx. How were they living as slaves? How were they living as slaves? And pretty soon, in the next 6 months, with R. Kelly in prison and these women without a resource of cash and food, these women who testified against R. Kelly and did all that boo-hooing in court today, guess what, you guys? They will find out what it's like to live in slavery in the next 6 months. Because the people down south, you notice how they're keeping the gas below $5 a gallon. Do y'all know that this is all fake, right? This is all fake. Down south, the gas in California is almost $7, $8 a gallon. But have y'all noticed that they're keeping you guys right below $5 a gallon? Because it's slavery. Because they know if they push the gas over $5 a gallon, does anyone do math or calculus? They know if they push the gas over $5 a gallon, then that will destroy the economy in the South. If the gas goes over $5 a gallon in the Bible Belt, no one can go to work. You guys haven't noticed how it keeps hovering over five? It's not doing that in California. You guys should be at $6 a gallon. You guys should be at $6 a gallon. But they know what happens to the economy if in Atlanta and in these places, gas goes over $5. How can gas be $8 in California, but they are magically keeping it under $5 in the South? Because they know what it means. So these women have told you that they were living under slave conditions. When they testify that they had meals cooked for them every day, they received thousands of dollars for sex. The woman went home with a Mercedes Benz. They had cable TV. They had a recording studio. They lived in a plush mansion in Buckhead. But that was slavery. You guys, in the next 6 months, a karma and a reckoning is going to come to these individuals because they live good. TMZ showed us that mansion. TMZ showed us how they live. They testify to the leather couches, to the king size beds. What they said was they had to call R. Kelly to use the bathroom and go in the refrigerator. Well, guess what? Just like Roger, I lived with the man in a house that wasn't my house. He was my father. And guess what, you guys? I was not allowed to go in my father's refrigerator. Yes, I was not allowed to go in my father's refrigerator. You know why? Because I did not purchase the food. And I was not responsible for everyone in that house of 6 human beings to be able to eat. So because my father purchased the food, purchased the house, purchased the motherfucking refrigerator, nobody goes in the motherfucking refrigerator without my motherfucking permission. Because the buck stops with me, little boy. And if no one in this house has food to eat, like the black bitch in the video that we saw, My father took responsibility for that. So to make sure everybody got food, there is no in and out of my motherfucking refrigerator. That's not slavery. I wasn't surprised when I heard the women say that they had to get permission to go to the bathroom. See, I grew up in poverty. And when I moved with my father had opulence, but he had to work hard. My father had to pay a water bill. So guess what happens in my father's house that he bought? See, I didn't live in the house that my mother bought. My mother didn't buy a house, but my father bought a house. And it was a beautiful house in a beautiful white neighborhood on a cul-de-sac. But my father worked hard. So guess what? My father timed the amount of time that me and my brother spent in the shower. Yes, my father timed the amount of time that me and my brother spent in the shower. Can't see in red. Big Daddy Gaming. Is there any real fathers in the chat right now? Are there any fathers who have to manage a water bill? And are there any fathers that have to make sure that everybody eats in the house? See, you couldn't just take an hour-long hot shower in my father's house. We actually paying for this house, boy. I'm paying for that water, boy. You couldn't take an hour hot shower in my father's house. It's not my house. I didn't pay the water bill. My father had a timer set. Yes, that's not slavery. That's called a budget. And guess what? All the white people in that neighborhood, the white Mormons who we live with, they all live the same way. They had a chore list. I had a chore list. The white kids had a job. They check went to their parents. I had a job. My check went to my father. I didn't keep my check. My check went to, was that slavery? Was that slavery? I lived in my father's house. I ate my father's food. I got a shower from my father, hot water. Please explain to me the slavery. I was not allowed to go in my father's refrigerator. I did not buy the refrigerator. I did not buy the food. I was not allowed to go in my father's bathroom and use water freely. So when these women testify and cry and say, R. Kelly made me call him to go to the bathroom. R. Kelly made me call him to go to the refrigerator. It was slavery. Bitches, you crazy. Bitches, you stupid. This is what's wrong with black women. This is what's wrong with black women in broken ass families. These stupid ass, retarded ass bitches. Bitches, you retarded bitch. You can't go to my father would not. I had to call my father if I wanted to go in the refrigerator for any reason. And you know what my dad would say? No. He would say no because he had allocated food for me and my brother for the whole day. And it was pre-portioned. What you guys call it now, you know what you call it now? Meal planning. You guys call it meal planning now. Well, my father meal planned to raise teenage boys. I was 6'2", 200 pounds. I was on a wrestling team. That's why I love Charles Faulkner. I wrestled. I wrestled in high school. I was good. I was really good on a national wrestling team. I was good at wrestling. It was expensive to feed me and my brother. So my father meal planned, budget. All right, let's go back to the video. Let's go back to the video. I just had to stop the video because I'm not going to let the bullshit go too far. They did not live under slave conditions. It is not slavery if you had to get permission from the owner of the house to go in the refrigerator. It is not slavery if you had to get permission from the owner of the house to take a shower. And if he timed how long you were in the hot shower, that's not slavery because you lived there for free. And R. Kelly was broken on the budget. Y'all believe this shit? Y'all believe this shit?
But specifically, this father circled in on the fact that he believes he can be forgiven by a higher power. But in order to do that, R. Kelly needs to confess and admit what he did was wrong.
What do you expect R. Kelly to say, or do you expect him to speak at all?
So as you mentioned earlier, Kelly did not speak. He chose not to testify in the trial, but we could still hear from him today. I was keeping a close ear on everything they said earlier this morning ahead of the lunch break, and they did not make any mention of whether after this Kelly may speak and address the court. However, it is something that we could see. Now, if you're listening to what the survivors have to say, then Kelly doesn't believe that he did anything wrong. But if he is to address the court, he likely would ask for a reduced sentence. His attorneys actually had filed as recently as last night for an acquittal or for a complete retrial, which the judge denied. So I assume if Kelly is to speak, he's going to ask for a lesser sentence.
What I also find interesting is we heard from you before. You said that the courtroom gasped when they said he could receive a lifetime sentence. Is a lifetime sentence something that they expected?
I think when you add up all of the convictions that Kelly has, it kind of makes sense for a lifetime charge. Ahead of any of these victim impact statements we heard this morning, there was nearly an hour of Judge Donnelly going through all of Kelly's convictions, what that means, what sentencing guidelines lay out for that. And she was saying, 32 years.
We have no value, brothers. We have no value. We are a joke to them. We have no value. How she just made a joke saying that R. Kelly deserved a lifetime sentence for consensual sex. R. Kelly did not kill anyone. Do y'all know Dylan Roof? Do y'all know the guy who shot the 10 people in Buffalo? Do y'all hear this conversation? This is what black men are worth today. All R. Kelly did was love black women. He only made love to black women. You don't have R. Kelly having sex with an 8-year-old or someone who did not have hair on their pussy. R. Kelly did not take anyone's panties down. But they are saying that it's feasible to get a life sentence. A life sentence. This case was based on the same case from 20 years ago. This case was not new case. This was not new women. Surviving R. Kelly, everybody in that video was about 10 to 20 years ago. There are no new women. There are no new women. These are old cases. And surviving R. Kelly in testimony, these women testify that they sought R. Kelly out. 17-year-old women from Chicago projects are not kids. I grew up in the projects. At 12 years old, I got arrested for attempted murder. At 8 years old, I could steal your wallet. At 12 years old, I'm more savvy than you. At 17, you should be afraid of me. The people committing murder in Chicago are at 17, you should be afraid of me. 17 years old coming out of a Chicago inner city project is not a victim. That is a survivor. That is a champion. They made it through the gauntlet. They don't need protection. None of these women needed protection. They snuck into the club. They snuck into the concert. They snuck backstage. They had sex with R. Kelly because they wanted to. The other women were invited to his home. He did not go pick them up. Certain women were dropped off by their parents at the home because they believed that their daughter was going to become a recording star. The father in question thought his daughter was going to make music. No, she was making music with her mouth, bitch. That's what she was doing. She was making music with her mouth. And you're upset, but he did not take anything. It was consensual. And for consensual sex with multiple women, they are propagating a lifetime sentence. How old is R. Kelly? So he didn't get life, right? But if he's 50 years old and the judge gave him 30 years, that is equivalent to a life sentence. Because what is a life expectancy? 75 years? He's not going to live to 80 years incarcerated. So 30 years is a life sentence for a 53-year-old man. Y'all forgot R. Kelly was over 50 years old. The case is 20 years old. R. Kelly is over 50 years old. The case is over 20 years old. A 30-year sentence is a life sentence. A 30-year sentence is a life sentence. And it was black men and black women lying in the courtroom. You got to ask yourself, when we say every morning that I would not advise black men to date black women, you got to really look at this. At the end of the day, these black women, just like in the Bill Cosby case, are still lying. These black women are asking for R. Kelly to get a life sentence, and R. Kelly never took anything. They had been there by invitation and invitation only. Me Too propagated that they felt pressure because he was so rich and famous. That's what Me Too said, but Amber Heard destroyed that. See, they are trying to say that no, even in the book, Trapped in the Closet, she said, I wasn't physically locked in the closet. R. Kelly had me mentally trapped in the closet. I'm going to say that 2 more times. We're going to go back to the video. In documents, the woman in question said in her book, look it up, Trapped in the Closet, she reiterated several times so she would not be found liable that she was never physically trapped in the closet, that R. Kelly had them mentally trapped. R. Kelly, the illiterate buffoon, had them mentally trapped in the closet. And for having her mentally trapped in the closet because she physically was able to leave when she wanted to, he deserves to be in jail for the rest of his life. He deserves to be in jail for the rest of his life.
Here, 12 years here. And when you add that up, R. Kelly is 55 years old. You add all these years together, it would be a lifetime sentence for him. So even though there was a gap in the courtroom, this is something that we should have been expecting.
What was the atmosphere like around the courtroom where you were at? I know you were not inside the courtroom, but were you able to see some of the victims come out, or the victim's father? Or what was their demeanor like?
So one of the victims said that she wished to speak alongside her attorney, Gloria Allred. Now, early this morning, I arrived pretty early and actually spoke with Allred herself, who said, this doesn't end today, but today will bring some little bit of justice to a predator. This is a word I've heard many, many times throughout the day, either these victim impact statements or attorneys. People are saying this is a day of justice. Now, as I said, I'm outside the courtroom right now. There are dozens of cameras, so much media here, and so much attention to this case. And I think for a lot of people, what this means is justice. A lot of the victims who spoke today, who now consider themselves survivors, say, I want this to prove to other people who have similar experiences or maybe victimized themselves, you are not alone. You do not have to be silent. So all in all, it seems like a very strong day in terms of the Me Too movement.
All right, finally, before we let you go, Sierra, what do you expect now to happen the rest of the afternoon?
I am hoping after this, being cautiously optimistic.
Did you guys hear that? She said this is a very strong day for the Me Too movement. I've noticed since the Johnny Depp verdict that there's been a ebb and flow with power. So now you had the Clarence Thomas opinion in the abortion decision, right? In the Mississippi decision. Me Too took a fatal blow with the Amber Heard trial, and Amber Heard's lying. What did it for the Me Too trial is Amber Heard got on the stand and lied. But here it is, these women, they do not want Me Too and the proponents of Me Too for the tenements of it to die. This is, again, did you guys hear what was said? This is why I'm doing this case, because I need men to understand. The Johnny Depp case was not about Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. The R. Kelly case is not about R. Kelly. This case is the same case from 20 years ago where he was found innocent. This is about Me Too and the corporate oligarchies who benefit from Me Too ideology. I will ask women, what did you get from the Me Too movement? The only thing I can see that women got, because WNBA still not making money. Men still make more than women. What did women get from the Me Too movement? What legislation? Because there was legislation. You know what you got? You got 2 women pregnant in an all women's prison. How did 2 women end up pregnant in an all women's prison? Because the Me Too legislation that got voted on and changed from those protests did not benefit women. But what it did do is it expanded the definition of women. And now women have got fucked in the ass by these oligarchs and corporations who tricked you into a women's march when you didn't need a women's march. You didn't need more rights. You have more rights than you have now. That's why you just lost abortion. So they tricked you into Me Too, and they took rights from you. They got you putting on pussy hats and marching and saying women, 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 when women are the most employed, most educated, and most gainful in America. You had way too much, but you wanted more. You wanted more. You know good bitches, you wanted more. You have everything, 80% divorces, all the jobs, all the money, full custody of the kids, but that wasn't enough, was it, women? It wasn't enough. Women said, we want more. We want it all. Well, you got fucked. So now your daughter can never win a gold medal. Now you're not even safe in prison. You're not safe in the bathroom. You're not safe anywhere. That's what you did, women. Me too, you motherfucking too. Yes, you did it to you. That's what you got from Me Too. That even if you're punished and incarcerated, there will be a man there with a hard dick waiting for you. Even if you have to go to the bathroom with your little daughter, there will be a man there with a hard dick waiting for you. What happened with Lexi in the East Coast? With that boy, that white boy who was posing as a white girl who got kicked out of 2 schools for fucking girls in the bathroom. He got kicked out of 2 schools for fucking girls in the bathroom. But he was allowed to go to the girls' bathroom because he says he identifies as a woman. But every time he goes to the girls' bathroom, he fucks a woman. So now, thanks to Me Too, and look at this smile on her face. Look at this fucking smile on her face. Look at that fucking smug smile. Thanks to this bitch and bitches like this, my daughter could never win a gold medal because the #1 swimmer in the world is a man. The #1 female boxer in the world is a man. The #1 female weightlifter in the world is a man. Thank you, Me Too. Thank you, pink pussy hat. The #1 swimmer, the #1 female swimmer in the world is a man. The #1 female boxer in the world is a man. The #1 female in the world is a man, is a man, is a man, is a man. That's what you got from Me Too. 2 pregnant women in an all women's prison. That did not just happen. Laws changed. We redefined what it was to be a woman. That's what you got from Me Too. You're welcome. Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome. Hey, I didn't have enough as a woman, so I want more. What else can I have? Huh? No bathroom for you. No bathroom. You can't even be safe in the bathroom. I argued against it. Women told me, shut the fuck up. I said, I have a daughter. I have a wife. I don't want men in the bathroom with my daughter. Women told me, shut the fuck up. So now, guess what, women? You're not even safe in the bathroom. But don't worry, R. Kelly's in jail for the rest of his life. Don't worry, R. Kelly's in jail for the rest of his life. Your daughter isn't safe in a high school bathroom, but don't worry, R. Kelly's in jail for the rest of his life. If your daughter makes a mistake and she has to go to prison, don't worry, R. Kelly's in jail for the rest of his life. Do y'all understand this shit? She said this was a great day for Me Too. Black Warrior Spirit said, I want my reparations money right now. She said this was a great day for Me Too. Well, Me Too.
Optimistic that we hear from Kelly himself that would be a great
happen the rest of the afternoon.
I'm hoping after this, being cautiously optimistic, that we hear from Kelly himself. That would be a great thing, just to see what he's feeling in this day. As I said, I can't really see what he looks like, but I haven't heard anything from him. So it would be great to hear that. In terms of sentencing, it's up to the judge, but I would not be surprised if a lengthy sentence is handed down. The prosecution is asking for excess of 25 years. And we can't forget that Kelly faces additional federal charges out of Illinois. So even if he does not receive a life sentence today, he could receive an additional sentence in those coming charges that he faces.
We're not done yet. That was just the first video. Salute to my brother Black Warrior Spirit in the building. Thank you for coming through and supporting, man. Breaking news, R. Kelly got 30 years. I've been going in a little while, man. I'm just showing a couple videos. I got another video I want to show. Thank you for coming through and supporting, brother. Hey, you know, sometimes I've been talking about this case for a little while, so I'm very familiar with it. So I had to just, you know, fair use, fair use. I just had to I just had to I just had to break the shit down, man. I just had to break the shit down for us one time, because people gonna be watching that maybe never seen my videos before. So that was the first video right there. Okay. So it's a lot of breaking news coming out. That's a lot of breaking news coming out. Let's go to the sentencing. We're gonna go to the sentencing. Salute, baby. Thank you for hitting that like button. We're gonna go to the sentencing, and then we're gonna go to the attorney, and he gonna discuss how R. Kelly gonna get out on appeal. And we're gonna chop up. I got Nipsey Hussle update too. We're gonna get onto that Nipsey Hussle update and Johnny Depp Disney update. Shout out to Johnny Depp.
And we're following that breaking news out of Brooklyn, New York. The federal courthouse there, where a federal judge has sentenced R. Kelly, the R&B singer, to 30 years in federal prison for sex crimes involving his young fans. I said before, you know, this involved female fans, but we also heard some testimony during the trial from a male accuser accusing R. Kelly of some sex crimes as well. So I'm seeing on social media, it's lighting up about this. Twitter is lighting up on this. I tweeted it out. People are celebrating this sentence on one hand. On the other hand, I've seen some tweets from people basically saying they're upset, they support R. Kelly, and they don't think that he's guilty. So we need to be mindful of that. He has his supporters and people who believe the allegations of the victims in this case, the accusers, and also, you know, they believe in the verdict that he was found guilty. So we are awaiting a press conference from the U.S. Attorney for the Eastern District of New York. We're going to break in and bring that to you as soon as it begins.
This is Webflow.
Switch back now to R. Kelly and that sentencing that just took place in federal court in Brooklyn. R. Kelly, the R&B singer, sentenced to 30 years in prison. We've been telling you this, and it happened just in the last hour or so. Victims, survivors speaking in court, addressing the court, saying some things that were very powerful about their experience with R. Kelly. And R. Kelly maintains that he didn't do anything wrong here. And somebody who knows R. Kelly well is Steve Greenberg. He is his former attorney. He actually withdrew from the case before the trial started, shortly, just weeks before the trial started in federal court last year. Steve, thank you so much for coming on and making time for us this afternoon. We really appreciate it. Your reaction, your thoughts on this 30-year sentence for R. Kelly, your former client.
Well, first of all, I still represent Robert, on the state cases here in Illinois.
Okay,
I'm
I
not his
apologize.
former attorney completely.
So sorry.
But I didn't do the New York case, and unfortunately, Robert has been plagued by poor choices about people for years. When he went with other counsel for the New York case, I think he made a poor decision because I don't think the court got the right flavor of the case. Look, this case, everyone has heard about R. Kelly, and everyone says he abuses young women. In the case in New York, that wasn't what they prosecuted him for. They prosecuted him for transmitting herpes, for taking someone he lived with lawfully in Illinois to California, I believe to the Grammy Awards, and having sex with her there where it was considered underage sex. I have always thought that the New York prosecution was an abuse of what the law intended for a RICO case. And I think this sentence is just a further abuse of that. All of these people, when you drill down in the discovery, were perfectly happy with their Gucci stuff and their fancy dinners and their private jets and all that. And no one ever complained. They didn't even complain after R. Kelly broke up with them. They didn't complain till years later when it sort of became the thing to do and to dump on R. Kelly. So I think the sentence is just an abomination.
Well, Steve, some people would say, though, that that's part of the grooming process, buying people Gucci, taking them on private jets, showing them this like jet set lifestyle that can, be part of that. I mean, we heard about things like this. We've heard about it in other cases. And,
But let me interrupt you for a sec, okay? Because there wasn't, and no one said that he was grooming people in this case. Let me give you an example. There was a young lady that lived in Houston. She came up to New Jersey with her sister to see R. Kelly perform in concert. He took a liking to her. She went back to Houston. She came back voluntarily. He sent her plane ticket. She came back and she was very open. I wanted to be with this man. That's not grooming. Now, once you're with him, of course, he's a celebrity. He was a rock star. You're going to live that lifestyle. I mean, if he'd have said to somebody, look, I'm going to wear Versace clothes, but you have to wear Levi's and a t-shirt from the Gap because that's just how I am, they would have left him.
Well, so when was the last time you spoke to R. Kelly without, saying anything that's going to violate, attorney-client privilege?
Well, that's really not, I mean, I speak to him.
Okay, how's he doing?
He's doing terrible. He had his entire life taken out from beneath him. This is a man who really should be a billionaire, right? Sold more albums than Whitney Houston, more albums than Michael Jackson. And when I had first met him, he was living in a one-bedroom apartment that he rented because everybody has stolen from him over the years. Everyone has taken advantage of R. Kelly. Now, I understand that some of the choices he made in life are not such good choices. And that in the 90s, maybe he made choices that are now coming back to haunt him. And I think the case here in Chicago might be a little bit different factually than the case in New York. But the case in New York is really where people are capitalizing. All of these people went on this so-called documentary. All of them got wined and dined. Are we going to say the documentary people were grooming them? All of them benefited from dumping on R. Kelly, who's now going to sit in jail for years for what was 95% consensual sex.
Well, 95%, there's still 5% that wouldn't be, if that's what we're arguing here.
Well, no. I'm saying it's 95% consensual sex. There is a 5% of that case that had nothing to do with sex. There was the bribery charge that was in there. That wasn't a sex charge. So all of the predicate acts involved sexual acts except bribery.
So, Steve, it almost sounds like you're saying it just became the in thing to do to accuse R. Kelly of sexual abuse. And transmitting herpes, that is a big deal. I mean, I'm not going to lie to you. When you have a sexually transmitted disease, you have a duty to not spread it about and to inform partners of that. So I guess I'm just thinking, so you're thinking, you believe all of these accusers made it all up and just kind of jumped on the bandwagon with one another.
Well, I don't know that they made it all up, but let me, first of all, your sexually transmitted disease. He was prosecuted under a New York misdemeanor statute that had never been used to prosecute anybody. It had been on the books since 1944. Lots of people have given people herpes. Lots of people have given people the clap since 1944, and no one was prosecuted on it. And they made it into a federal crime by claiming that he did it. He crossed state lines. He went to New Jersey. That's how the case ended up there. But let's look at some of the other people. His former girlfriend, Azriel, who was very honest in when she testified, I will say, and she said, my mother sent me to a concert and said, you make this man fall in love with you, you're going to have his babies, you're going to be his girl, so on and so forth. They preyed on him. They preyed on him. And for them to now come to court and say they are.
So lately I've been waking up in the middle of the night and my heart's just racing.
Moments ago, R. Kelly was sentenced to 30 years in prison. This is a significant outcome for all victims of R. Kelly, and especially for the survivors who so bravely testified about the horrific and sadistic abuse they endured. R. Kelly is a predator, and as a result of our prosecution, he'll serve a long jail sentence for his crime. With the aid of his fame, his money, and most importantly, his inner circle, R. Kelly preyed upon children and young women for his own sexual gratification for decades. He used coercive control, exemplified by a pattern of isolation, rules, dependence, threats, intimidation tactics, physical abuse, and at least once, the presence of a gun, to force victims, including minors, to engage in sexual activity with him and others, and to become unwilling participants in the pornographic films he wrote, produced, and directed. He continued committing his crimes for almost 30 years and avoided punishment until today. Today, the sentence shows that the witnesses reclaim control over their lives and over their futures. These are the voices of mostly Black and brown women and children that were heard and believed, and for whom justice was finally achieved. This is a victory for them, for justice, and for future survivors of sexual assault. Victims of sexual violence must be heard, perpetrators must be held accountable, and our women and children must be protected. I hope this sentencing serves as its own testimony that it doesn't matter how powerful, rich, or famous your abuser may be, or how small they may make you feel. Justice only views the truth. I want to say that this case would not have been possible without the outstanding work, dedication, and skill of the prosecution team, Assistant United States Attorneys Elizabeth Geddes, Nadia Shahada, Maria Cruz Melendez, Senior Investigator Keith Polovich, and former paralegal specialist Kira Winston and Alyssa Fagel. Their dedication to the truth and justice was truly extraordinary. I want to commend and thank the special agents who handled this case for their outstanding work, Ryan Chabot and Sylvette Reynoso, the Department of Homeland Security Investigations, under the supervision of Supervisory Special Agents Elvin Hernandez and Patrick Gill. They and detectives from the New York City Police Department painstakingly went through the documents, records, and interviews to collect and verify the facts that became the foundation for this strong case. And finally, I want to emphasize this. I want to say a special thank you to the brave survivors, those who came forward, and all who endured. It is thanks to you that we were able to deliver justice today. I'll now call up HSI's Executive Associate Director,
Chairman of I'm Steve Francis, the Executive Associate Director of Homeland Security Investigations, HSI. Robert Kelly once said, if you're going to tell your life story, you got to be honest or don't do it. Over the course of this HSI-led multi-year investigation, a 6-week trial, the jury of Mr. Kelly's peers confirmed what these courageous victims have known for a very long time. Mr. Kelly is not an honest person. This man is a prolific serial predator who utilized his status as a Grammy Award-winning household name with global recognition to inflict pain and anguish on so many victims. Despite numerous reports of his destructive abuse over the years, the brazen acts of intimidation against his accusers have been shielded from prosecution until HSI, the U.S. Attorney's Office from the Eastern District of New York, and these incredible prosecutors and NYPD initiated an investigation into his criminal organization. Today's sentence is a victory that belongs to the brave victims who came forward. Despite intense public scrutiny, despite social media slander, despite threats to their own health and safety, and despite being asked to relive the pain of some of the most traumatic days in their lives, they told their stories and they made their voices heard. Today's sentencing sends a clear message that no amount of money or fame is enough to evade justice. And the money, power, and fame will not buy you immunity in the United States. And the United States government will hold you accountable for any atrocities you commit. Mr. Kelly led a criminal enterprise with his entourage to prey on the young and vulnerable by dangling promises of fame, fortune, and stardom. By the time his victims saw through the empty promises, it was too late. Mr. Kelly attempted to silence these victims through bribery, intimidation, blackmail, and physical violence. He once saying that sometimes the silence can be so loud. Thankfully, these brave victims and true survivors will be heard forever, while Mr. R. Kelly will be left alone in a jail cell in silence for many, many years to come. It is comforting to now know that not only the loud noise he will hear every day is his prison cell door slamming shut behind him. No matter how many hit songs he may have released, his legacy will not be remembered by that of his voice, but by the voices of the brave women and men who came forward to reveal to the world the monster that R. Kelly truly is. Mr. Kelly underestimated the bravery and resilience of those he once preyed upon when they were young and vulnerable. These victims are the unsung heroes today. Today is about them. Today is their day. Today is their victory. Thank you.
What took you so long, sir? Why did you fail victims for decades, sir?
Thank you, everybody.
Any comments on the structure of the prosecution's case? Okay, so down.
Up here.
Gloria.
We're all set up here.
Gloria.
We're all set up here.
Hey.
Back over. Hey, somebody put the case down for her to stand on.
What happened?
Put that case. Hold on. Teach put that case.
He's got it. Stand up.
You got it.
Yeah. Give her a little height.
To this shit. So we back, y'all. We back, y'all. So what we just showed y'all, the lawyer who said that R. Kelly gonna come home on appeal, I agree with that. Then you just saw the district attorney and the feds in New York right here detailing the case again, saying how proud he is that he got R. Kelly. So that's the R. Kelly update. We're gonna talk more about that, but I got another video I want to share with y'all about Nipsey Hussle. So I don't know if y'all heard, I've been giving the Nipsey Hussle update. The latest thing I shared with you on the Nipsey Hussle case that I think is very powerful, and I wanted to prepare people for what may happen with the Nipsey Hussle case. And I want to thank God for all of the information and intelligence he's been giving me lately with dealing with these court cases. But check this out. The Kyle Rittenhouse case, we could have guessed that Kyle Rittenhouse could have been found innocent based on pretrial arguments that allow Kyle Rittenhouse to use self-defense as a mode of defense, right? And because the judge allowed Kyle Rittenhouse, this is the white boy who killed those people in the Black Lives Matter protest, right? And because the judge allowed him to use self-defense, the people he killed were not allowed to be called victims in the case. The entire time the jury was in the room, you could not refer to the people that Kyle Rittenhouse killed as victims. Now, let me relate this to Nipsey Hussle. Pay attention. In pre-trial arguments, Eric Holder's attorney argued for the fact that his defense for his client is going to be a crime of passion. Now, listen, simply because you get into an altercation in the parking lot, you kill somebody, you don't just get to say, oh, stand your ground, stand your ground. Somebody in the audience or in the replay might know somebody who tried to use stand your ground and got refused. A lot of black men in Florida and in these states with stand your ground attempt to use stand your ground as a defense, and the judge says no. You're not privy to stand your ground simply because you kill somebody. I don't think everyone knows that and understands that. This happens in what we call pre-trial arguments, okay? And in a pre-trial argument is whether or not it's determined you get to use certain defenses, correct? Stand your ground or crime of passion. Eric Holder's attorney, who was, what's that boy name from the O.J. Simpson trial? What's his name? Chris Darden, successfully argued that Eric Holder's killing of Nipsey Hussle was not a murder and not a crime, but a crime of passion. And in that argument, and in winning that argument, he's able to argue in opening statements that Nipsey Hussle called Eric Holder a snitch. We don't know that. How the hell do you know that? It doesn't matter anymore. Do you guys understand what the fuck I'm saying? It doesn't matter anymore. It is fact now. Because he won that pre-trial argument and he's been allowed to fight this case as a crime of passion because Nipsey called me a snitch. In opening statements and going forward, the jury would hear over and over again, Nipsey called Eric a snitch. Nipsey called Eric a snitch. I'm relating that to the Kyle Rittenhouse trial because you were not allowed to call those people victims. It affected the behavior of the jurors and the verdict. The fact that the jury will hear the whole time that Nipsey called Eric a snitch, and this goes to the jury instructions on whether or not how you come to a guilty verdict for a murder one. You're going to have to, the state will have to prove that it was not a crime of passion. And Eric is innocent until proven guilty, just like Kyle. It is not behoove Eric. Eric doesn't have to prove. Do y'all understand that? That's what people didn't understand about Kyle Rittenhouse. Eric is innocent until proven guilty. Nipsey is dead. That's why they always say, kill that motherfucker. Don't let him live because you don't want to witness. Nipsey is dead. He can't speak for himself. So that's why there was no one to argue against whether or not I called him a snitch. Who can say whether or not I called him a snitch? I'm dead. I can't defend myself. I'm dead. So Eric Holder has said it's a crime of passion. Nipsey Hussle called me a snitch. The judge allowed it. It was an opening statement that Nipsey Hussle called him a snitch. It's a crime of passion. Jury instructions will instruct the jury that if you believe that Eric was mentally and emotionally changed by Nipsey calling him a snitch, we don't even have to argue whether or not he called him a snitch. It don't even matter if he did or didn't. The question will be whether or not you believe Eric Holder was emotionally affected by Nipsey Hussle calling him a snitch. Do y'all understand that mathematical equation I just presented to you? Do you understand what I just presented to you? That was math. Y'all thought that's not how a court don't give a fuck about who killed who. It gives a fuck about math and a question. The question is, now that we've established that it's a crime of passion, right? We've established that Nipsey called my client a snitch. 12 jurors. Do you believe, and this is what he said in the opening statements, we've all been in high school before. We know what it's like to be a tattletale. If you get called a tattletale in school, isn't there consequences? I was like, this motherfucker good. This motherfucker good. This is a gang. He's a Crip. They're in a gang. What he will say is that Nipsey Hussle, a gang member, called another gang member a snitch in front of other gang members. And the jury will be instructed to answer, do you believe Eric Holder was emotionally affected by being called a snitch? All right. And if you believe that, then guess what? Eric Holder is innocent. He did not murder Nipsey Hussle. There's something else. There's a lesser charge. He did not premeditate. He didn't wake up in the morning with a plan to kill Nipsey Hussle. It was a crime of passion. He'll be out in a few years. So what happened today in court? Let's go to the video. I want to show y'all what happened today. Because I got my big bro on the phone, and he was just talking about potentially. They got on that full helmet. That's why he ain't in court today. That's what I was going to show. That's what I was going to show. And this relates back to. This is what relates back to R. Kelly. So R. Kelly is gonna have an appeal, right? But will R. Kelly live to his appeal? This used to be like with the mafia, and y'all remember all that shit back with the mafia trials and the first RICO acts? Will he live? Because there was still mob wars during the trials, and people would get taken out in between the RICO and the appeal. So will R. Kelly live to make it to his appeal based on being convicted of a sex crime in a federal prison? What happened with Eric Holder is court was canceled today. Eric Holder was a no-show because he was almost beat to death. Imagine that. Imagine Eric Holder winning that pretrial argument that he is going to say it was a crime of passion and that Nipsey called him a snitch. You know what the 6 O's are probably figuring in jail? That was very genius by Eric Holder, and he potentially gonna get off because they don't value black men. And to the judge and to the jury, Nipsey Hussle was a gang member. So the 6 O's in the tank is saying we gotta kill this nigga because he probably gonna get off. That was a great defense. This is why he got Chris Darden. I don't know if he would have came up with that defense on his own. We all wondered who paid for Chris Darden. How did he get Chris Darden as an attorney? And Chris Darden successfully argued. That's why Chris Darden left. He won. Oh my God, are y'all listening? That's why Chris Darden left Eric Holder's team, because he already won the case. He argued that it was a crime of passion, and he allowed in court for you to say Nipsey called him a snitch when you can't prove Nipsey called him a snitch. The judge never should have allowed that language. But it's too late now. The jury gets to hear that Nipsey. Do y'all hear what I'm saying? It is now fact. This is what all of the YouTube videos were about. We don't know what the fuck Nipsey Hussle said. No one knows. But now it is a matter of fact. Y'all ever heard that term before when people say a matter of fact? It's not up for debate or discussion anymore. Nipsey called him a snitch. Whether he did or didn't. That's some real shit that y'all gotta sink in. When we talk about court, we ain't talking about what happened on the block. Nipsey called him a snitch. And because of that, Eric is being able to say it's a crime of passion. He probably gonna get off. And today, he did not show up in court because they tried to beat his ass and kill him. Let's go to the video.
TV. Now we're on part 6 of Nipsey Hussle's trial against Eric Holder. Now, Eric Holder versus the state of California. Now, in this video, I catch everyone up to speed on what's happening with the trial. Now, of course, this case is not being televised, so I'm just trying to keep everybody up to speed on what's going on inside the courtroom. Now, first, the driver, Bernita Nicholson, has finished testifying, you guys. And a few things that I found odd, I'll tell you. Now, she actually said that before arriving to the courtroom that she got a phone call, and she said that the person on the line said she was the reason that Nipsey was dead. After that, she told the courtroom and the court authorities, and she was escorted by the authorities to and from court each and every day during the trial. Now, according to her, she says that she had no idea that Eric Holder was going to shoot Nipsey. Now, you guys got to keep in mind. Now, they said the witness is supposed to be from Alabama, and she moved to the LA area, and she was pretty much a square to the whole gang banging and street life, allegedly. Now, one thing I found odd was the courtroom actually played a few minutes of her initial interrogation back in 2019, which was around 4 to 5 hours of footage. Now, they showed a small portion of the interview, and she mentioned that Eric Holder was acting quote unquote messy, and that Eric Holder indeed asked Nipsey Hussle had he ever snitched. Now, the driver admitted that Nipsey was kind of standoffish during that conversation, like he didn't want to talk to Eric Holder. Now, she noticed this while trying to take a selfie with Nipsey Hussle, and what she got. Now, they say the driver stood there and listened to the conversation for around 52 seconds, and the entire conversation between Nipsey and Eric Holder lasted around 4 minutes. So she got around a quarter of that conversation. Now, another witness, Cowboy, who is a self-proclaimed witness advocate, testified again. Now this time he had to answer questions from Eric Holder's legal team. During this testimony, a few things I found odd. The legal team wanted to know why Cowboy didn't mention what Nipsey actually said before Eric Holder got out of the car. Now, if you guys don't know, he did perform a no jumper interview. Now, during that interview, according to Cowboy, he said Nipsey said to himself, "I wonder how this is going to unfold," when he seen Eric Holder. Now, this is before Eric Holder even got out of the car. Now, Cowboy didn't have a definitive answer to the legal team. He kind of shook it off and said, Cowboy pretty much was like, "You guys didn't ask that. You guys asked me about the car," so he didn't say anything. Cowboy also admitted that he was standing very close to Nipsey the entire time that Eric Holder was talking to the group. But at the same time, Cowboy couldn't answer the question when the legal team asked if Nipsey and the entourage actually made jokes or clowned Eric Holder during the conversation. Now, what this means to me is I believe Eric Holder told his lawyer that Nipsey Hussle and the crew were actually making jokes about him during that conversation. Now, I'm not saying this is true, but this is what Eric Holder could have told them. So it seems like they're trying to paint this narrative that the conversation made Eric Holder snap like that. Now, if they can prove that this conversation made him snap, it's a good chance that he could get a manslaughter charge, which is a significant lesser amount of time for the conviction. Now, also, I wanted to clip a few questions about the courtroom not being televised. According to a few people that are covering this case, now it's because this is a high-profile case, meaning Nipsey Hussle is known worldwide, and a lot of these witnesses still live in that same area where the situation went down. Now, according to the courts, they say witnesses have been on camera. According to the courts, they say witnesses being on camera and testifying with sensitive information is something they would like to keep private and away, which I can understand. I mean, it is fair. Would I like to see the whole thing televised? Yes, but at the same time, this is a high-profile murder case. You got to think, it's a lot of evidence. You know, they're going to see Nipsey Hussle's body. I'm sure Nipsey Hussle's family probably won't want the public to see. Now, these witnesses are putting their life on the line to help for this case at the end of the day. Speaking of witnesses, everybody knows Rimpaw. Now, the friend of Nipsey since they were in school is not coming to court at all. Now, they served him the papers to come in. They even put a warrant out for $500,000, but he's not coming to court. Now, he posted on his social media just last night saying this. He says, "The way y'all talk about showing up for court and supporting the 77th and the people make me feel like y'all don't even know Nipsey Hussle." Now, the 77th he was referring to is the 77th Police Department that's in the area that covers the crime. And you know what? I've been saying it for the longest. Nipsey Hussle lived by the no snitching code by default. Now, numerous of songs he mentions snitches, and I'm going to take Rimpaw's side. Now, he knew Nipsey before the world even knew who Nipsey was. Now, the gangs, they say that these gangs take oaths when they sign up and just into the street life that they're not going to snitch at all, no matter the circumstances. Now, another person who was close to Nipsey in the streets, and he made music with Nipsey before anyone knew who he was Jay Stone. Now, Jay Stone posted this on his Twitter. He says, "Snitching on a snitch is still snitching and it's unacceptable." Notice the capital letters on unacceptable. So at the end of the day, Cowboy did exactly what he wanted to do, but in my honest opinion, I don't think Nipsey would have condemned it. His family nor close friends are showing up to court, and it's another reason why I feel Nipsey wouldn't have liked this whole situation with Cowboy testifying. Now today, June 28th, Tuesday, court was canceled today, according to James Quilley of the LA Times. Now he said this on his Twitter. He says, "Another delay in the Eric Holder trial, this time due to an unforeseen medical issue. His attorney says that this is a non-COVID related matter, but declined to elaborate." The prosecutor was mum. We're tentatively scheduled to resume at 9:30 a.m. tomorrow. So make sure you guys tune into my channel. Make sure you like this particular Nipsey Hussle video. That way, when I post Nipsey, it'll come to your phone. So if you don't like any other videos but the Nipsey video, if you're just interested in that, if you like all of the Nipsey Hussle videos that I post, it'll come straight to your phone or your mobile device. I'll catch you on the next video. Audience signing out.
I got one more video for y'all. I ain't forget about y'all. I got one more video for y'all. So we did the R. Kelly update. We did the Nipsey Hussle update. I'm a little bit of overtime. We like to do an hour live stream, but now I'm gonna do the Johnny Depp update, and then we're gonna get up out of here. Johnny Depp, Disney, and then I got another Johnny Depp update we're gonna do tomorrow or the next day. Just a recap of the Johnny Depp trial, because I know y'all like Johnny Depp so much. So right now, the latest thing I got on the Johnny Depp front is the fact that Disney is refusing to apologize. Now, y'all remember Johnny Depp said he wouldn't do another Pirates for $300 million and 100 alpacas. So let's see what this fair use.
Disney has still not publicly welcomed him back. However, the company is now facing backlash for trying to profit off of Johnny's pirate character without giving the actor an explanation or an apology. So how exactly is Disney trying to profit off of Johnny Depp? Will they bring Johnny back to the cast of Pirates? Keep watching to find out. Following Johnny's defamation case victory against Amber Heard, an image of Captain Jack Sparrow was projected onto the Disneyland Paris castle. Depp had claimed that the defamatory op-ed cost him roles such as Captain Jack Sparrow in the Disney franchise. Since winning the case, however, there have been calls for Disney to apologize and try to recast Depp as the beloved character. According to a video posted on Twitter, Disney appears to have used Depp's likeness in a Pirates of the Caribbean display on their Disneyland castle in Paris. The uploader claims the video was taken over the weekend. During the defamation trial, Depp was asked about being dropped by Disney for the Pirates of the Caribbean franchise. The actor told the court that he believed it came down to allegations of wife-beating. 2 years had passed of constant worldwide talk about me being this wife-beater, he explained. I'm sure Disney was attempting to cut ties in order to be safe. At the time, the hashtag the Me Too movement was in full swing. Depp also claimed that despite his removal from the film series, Disney still wanted to profit from the character. They didn't take my character off the rides, he told the court. They didn't stop selling Captain Jack Sparrow dolls. They just didn't want there to be something trailing behind me that they'd find, they explained. Despite being dropped as the beloved character, Depp stated that he would not be interested in returning to the Pirates of the Caribbean series in the future. The fact is, Mr. Depp, if Disney came to you with $300 million and 1 million alpacas, nothing on this earth would get you to go back and work with Disney on a Pirates of the Caribbean film? Asked Heard's lawyer, Benjamin Rottenborn. Correct? That is correct, Mr. Rottenborn, Depp responded. Instead, Pirates of the Caribbean 6 is expected to star a very different actor. Jerry Bruckheimer confirmed 2 pirate scripts were still in the works in an interview with The Times ahead of the release of Top Gun Maverick. When asked if Depp would return, Bruckheimer said, "Not at this time. The future has yet to be determined." The producer did, however, reveal that another A-lister may appear in one of the sequels. "We're talking to Margot Robbie," he said, of the possibility of a sequel with a female lead. "We're working on 2 pirate scripts, one with her and one without." But fans have their own reactions. Here they are. One fan commented, "Many people, including myself, were excited to work on Pirate 6. Another commented that give them some time. It appears they will end up apologizing because almost every movie they have recently made has flopped, and replacing him would be an epic fail for them." One more commented further saying, "I believe we should give it some time. In any case, Disney movies are not created in a single day. And if it's made, it'll be kept under wraps because that's how movies work." There are 2 Pirate 6 scripts, according to rumors, one with and one without him. Disney is not a moron. Another tweet came, "That irritates me because after what they did to him, putting his face and voice on the castle almost appears to be an attempt to annoy fans and laugh in our faces, SMH." One more fan stated, "I adore Disney and am deeply disappointed that no public apology has been issued. Every park has a statue of him." Another fan asked, why, as he admitted, was he high on set? The delays he caused had an impact on other shows. One fan also said, "They must bleed pot dry when they can." Even with JD, Pot C was already on the decline due to audience fatigue and poor writing. Now that he's gone, they'd have to shift the franchise wisely and creatively, which, given the writing, isn't going to happen. Another said, corporations lack a conscience and a heart. It feels so wrong, but they are the owners of the rights. Aside from that, the show looks amazing, but the backstory is terrible. One fan tweeted, make a Potsy movie without JD. Disney, I want to see the epic box office failure and laugh my head off when you lose millions and realize Captain Jack is the entire franchise. On that, a fan replied, people are saying that Jason Momoa is Aquaman, not the character, but the franchise. Not to mention Heard and his co-stars, not just Jack Sparrow, but Johnny Depp and POTC. POTC will fail miserably without him. A fan commented, if they apologize, it'll most likely be in private. I doubt they'll ever apologize publicly, as they should. Even though they were happy to release a statement about dropping him, they'll continue to profit from him as they have for years. Do you think Disney will issue a public apology to Johnny? Let us know in the comments down below. Make sure to like and subscribe for more.
He went to Spain.
Disney infamous.
She should be embarrassed of herself. She should have been embarrassed. She should have been embarrassed. And then, you know what I'm saying, to open herself up, talking about she exposing him when you exposing yourself. You ain't exposed him on shit. This nigga pulled up what he supposed to do. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, nigga, I'm coming to do every day for mine. You know what I'm saying? Like every day, nigga. Nah, I don't give a fuck. How you know I ain't got it? How you know this ain't my last $7, $8 that I'm spending on my child every day? How you know if I ain't spending my days hustling up on $8, $10 so the next day I can bring my son something to eat? Bitch, what make you think I got money like that? Shit is expensive. That's $40 every day. That's $200 a week. Nigga, I can't be spending $40 a day for 3 other motherfuckers that ain't mine. And then I said, I take $10 to feed your kids. You know what I'm saying? I'm waiting on my food stamps for the 7th. Where the other baby daddies at? Why you ain't calling none of them niggas? See, she didn't think of none of that shit. She just did some spontaneous shit out. Here he come again. Like the world gonna sympathize with you. You crazy? Ain't nobody gonna sympathize with you because a real mama know how to feed all her kids. Period. The real mama would have still took with that nigga if she wanted all her kids.
I'm Anjanette Levy, and welcome to the latest edition of Law and Crime Sidebar Podcast. We hope that you're having a great day, and thanks so much for joining us. On Friday of last week, I was in court in Fairfax County, Virginia, and this was really a hearing that was a formality. This is where Judge Karate actually entered the final judgment for the defamation lawsuit between Johnny Depp and Amber Heard. You may recall that the jury awarded Johnny Depp $15 million in damages. $10 million of that was compensatory damages. The other $5 million was punitive, but the $5 million in punitive damages, that's actually capped at $350,000 per state statute. So Johnny Depp can only get $10,350,000. On the other side, Amber Heard, she won one of her claims against Johnny Depp, and that had to do with statements made by Adam Waldman, his attorney, to the Daily Mail back in 2020. And Amber Heard was awarded $2 million in compensatory damages by the jury on that count. However, she was not awarded any punitive damages. So I wanted to talk a little bit about what happened in court on Friday. It was a brief hearing, but Judge Karate, no nonsense as usual. She has had this case for a long time. She went through what was going to happen that day. Elaine Bredehoff, the attorney for Amber Heard, wanted to file a bunch of post-trial motions and wanted the judge to schedule a hearing to hear these post-trial motions. And Judge Karate was very firm. She said, we are not having a hearing on any of this. If you want to file motions, I will read them and decide on the papers. And she told Elaine Bredehoff basically that she knows that's not how it works. She said, I am the chief judge
of this court and have been for some time. And we're not doing this. So she was not giving her any wiggle room whatsoever. There was also discussion about Amber Heard having to file what's called a suspension bond. And that is so that the judgment is essentially stayed during the appeal. So Johnny Depp wouldn't be able to pursue the judgment pending the appeal. But in order to do that, Amber Heard has to post $10.35 million. She has to kind of hand that money over to the court. And then interest on that accrues annually at a rate of 6%. So there was some discussion about that back and forth. And Judge Ascarati basically told Elaine Bredehoft, this is the procedure. You have to file the bond. And that's it. There's no discussion. But Elaine Bredehoft said she wants to address this in post-trial motions. Johnny Depp, for his part, is actually kind of objecting to some of the things having to do with the trial. We don't know if he's appealing yet. That hasn't been stated. However, he filed an exhibit with the judgment outlining his objections to the verdict and the judgment. So joining us to break all of this down is Gene Rossi. He is a former federal prosecutor and practices in Virginia. So Gene, welcome back to Sidebar. Thanks for coming on. Very briefly, tell us your reaction to what we've reported about Judge Ascarati with Elaine Bredehoft in court on Friday. She basically said, I've had this case for 18 months. We had a 6-week trial. I'm not having a hearing.
Well, Fairfax County, led by this judge, should be called itself the Rocket Docket. This was a 6-week trial, a lot of witnesses, a lot of exhibits, but this hearing, Anjanette, you hit the nail on the head. It was very brief, or relatively brief. That's because she wants to close the file on this case, enter the final order, have her put up her bond for appeal, and move on. If they want to file post-trial motions, she'll read them. She'll probably deny them, but she's not going to have a hearing. She means business. She's a former Marine, and she doesn't take any suffer fools gladly. So that doesn't surprise me what happened Friday of last week.
Gene, with the judgment that was filed, Ben Chu filed an exhibit. He called it Exhibit A, and it listed a number of bullet points as to why the Depp team disagrees with the finding Johnny Depp liable for Adam Waldman's statements. One of those bullet points basically says that, they say that this is contrary to the law and unsupported by the facts. The fact that Adam Waldman made this statement to the Daily Mail, where he called that second 911 call on May 21st of 2016 an ambush and a hoax. He said that the first 911 call didn't work out for them, so they spilled a little wine and roughed up the place and then placed that second 911 call. And they found that or at least the Depp team finds that, or feels that the $2 million award is excessive. So your thoughts on Exhibit A and those 2 bullet points in particular?
Well, I have 2 thoughts on Exhibit A. One, it incorporates all the motions and filings and arguments in limine that were made. So that's sort of unremarkable, but it addresses that one defamatory statement that was found in Ms. Heard's favor regarding, I call it the hoax. And this Exhibit A tries to persuade the judge that the jury's finding was not supported by anything that was in evidence. This is a weak argument. I frankly think that Exhibit A is more a PR piece than a legal piece, because the jury made a finding that the hoax was defamatory, and what they provide in Exhibit A really should not move the judge and move the needle.
I want to move on now and get your thoughts just briefly on an email that was released on Friday. And I have to give credit where credit is due. Jackson Bryan from the Movie Myths and Monsters podcast, they were the ones who actually obtained this email and released it. And it's an email from Adam Waldman, who was on the case, the defamation case, until he was removed from the case by a judge after he released some audio recordings that were subject to a protective order. But in that email, he basically says that Rocky Pennington, who was present that night, that her husband at the time, Josh Drew, who we heard from during the trial, had told him that Rocky was hiding in the penthouse that night. That she didn't just enter when Amber wanted her to come in. He's making this sound like he has information that this was indeed, as he claims, a hoax. So why didn't we hear more about this during the trial?
That befuddles me. The text of this email, if it had come out in trial, goes to the heart of Mr. Depp's defense. Waldman had a good faith basis for believing that second 911 call, if not the whole incident in the penthouse, was just a hoax. So that goes to the jury instruction on that one defamatory statement that was found in favor of Miss Heard. Why this did not.
Your shipping manager left to find themselves, leaving you lost. You need to hire.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do.
Not come out at trial, either this email or this conversation. I don't understand. And all I can say is this: it's too little too late. It's not going to change anything. It obviously did not with this judge.
Well, Gene Rossi, former federal prosecutor, attorney in Virginia, thanks so much for your expertise and your time as always. We appreciate it.
Thank you.
This week, Jeffrey Epstein's former girlfriend will be sentenced in federal court in the Southern District of New York for her role in procuring young women.
So that was the Johnny Depp update right there. So a couple things. Disney is still fronting on our boy Johnny Depp. Amber Heard filed for bankruptcy. Amber Heard filed for an appeal, but she will not be allowed to file for an appeal until she pays the $8.5 million to Johnny Depp. And we're gonna stay posted on this Johnny Depp shit. If she pays the $8 million, if it comes from Elon Musk, if there's an appeal, we're gonna be right on that. Because what we learned from this case with R. Kelly is that there are people who want Me Too to be viable, and they want the Me Too ideology to live and be strong. So there are Me Too proponents out there, and it could be some one of these oligarchs step up to the plate and pay the $8 million for Amber Heard to get a retrial, just so that Me Too stays as paramount in the news. Because I mean, we have a November election, we have a red wave. Don't forget that all of this is distracting you from going to go vote, because Biden doesn't have any signature legislation. It's a lame duck presidency. By this time, you had an Affordable Care Act. So if he loses his supermajority, he won't be able to get the Green New Deal passed. The Green New Deal was his signature legislation. Without the Green New Deal, you don't have anything to run on for a second term. Do y'all understand what I'm talking about? Biden has to run again to be a two-term president. Barack Obama won the presidency twice. People don't give Barack Obama credit, man, and his team. Barack Obama won the presidency twice. Biden will have to run for president a second time after 4 years. Barack Obama was able to run on the Affordable Care Act. Y'all remember John Q? And a lot of people remember the donut hole. I worked in the hospital. George Bush created something called Medicare Part D, and it had a donut hole. The donut hole says that when you spend a certain amount of money on your medications and you get to this circle right here, you got to pay the whole amount of money for the medication. Some of the medication, some of the Coumadin is like $1,000 a pill. So old people was in the lab backed up, and they didn't talk about the certain labs, because to have Coumadin, you got to get your blood drawn every week. The cost of the labs went up with Medicare Part D. So now all that shit free with Obamacare, right? With the Affordable Care Act. So Barack Obama was able to run for president for a second term on the Affordable Care Act and all the great things that happened. I know, I worked in the hospital. I remember Medicare Part D. I remember the donut hole. That was a signature accomplishment. That was his signature legislation. Joe Biden doesn't have any signature legislation. The Green New Deal would have been his signature legislation. Now he's trying to tout what he did in the pandemic. even though he doesn't really want to talk about that because he don't know what's going to happen from them shots that everybody took. So you don't hear him bragging on that, but that's all he has to run on, right? That's all he has to run on. So you're gonna have Kamala Harris running for president, and you have all these distractions because there's a red wave. And right now, Joe Biden has the Congress and the Senate to get something passed. There's 3 branches of government. You need 2 branches of government. So if he doesn't get anything passed before November and this red wave come, he will not get anything through the Senate. And possibly he might lose the Congress. So that means he'll be by himself. None of his legislation will get passed. His presidency will be effectively neutralized. This is chess. This is politics. This is chess. So what did Biden do to save his ass, to save his presidency? He canceled Roe versus Wade. He did. But I didn't think about this. We have more women on the Supreme Court than ever before, a Democratic president, and they overturned Roe versus Wade. Now, why would they overturn Roe versus Wade on a Democratic president? Because Biden wants you to go vote Democratic in November. That's why you have all this distraction. That's why Me Too coming back, women, Roe versus Wade, all this, because Biden wants you to vote Democrat in November. He needs you to vote Democrat in November. He is done if you don't vote Democrat in November. Just so people understand why all of this is coming up. I know perfect time and you be talking about some shit. I know because I love you guys. It's about father power. Y'all got to understand why this distraction is happening. There's a red wave coming. There's a red wave coming, and Biden will be unseated if he loses this election in November. So, Roe versus Wade, Johnny Depp, all this shit is about distracting you, right? Getting the red pill, red rage, so that the Democrats and the liberals can take the election in November. Because they want to have Biden run for another 4 years. All right, you guys. Thank y'all for watching. This is the Perfect Timing Podcast. Thank y'all for tuning in, simulcasting live with the Blast on 3 channels right now. My name is Perfect. Check me out every morning on the Roger Report and the Roger Report Live. Thank you to my brother Roger. He just shared my video from yesterday where we talked about the young lady who refused food from his father. Go check out my video from yesterday. I think you're going to really enjoy my perspective on the video. Angry Man is doing a video right now. Please go watch Roger's video from today, where Roger discussed it today. So the cool table, just like me and Roger back together again, the cool table. I said today, Roger, I said this today, that our conversation will change the conversation in the manosphere, in the black manosphere. I said that today on the panel. Now you have 1,000 people watching Angry Man because of the panel that me and Roger had today. And this is going to happen every day. That's why I'm so happy to God. God bless Roger. God bless the channel, because Roger, God has put us together because God has a calling on both of our lives. And when we together, we make magic. And this is what's going to happen. Every time me and Roger get together and talk about an issue, this is what's going to happen in the black manosphere. And it's supposed to happen this way. It's supposed to happen this way. I'm very proud of the work we've been doing lately. Thank you, Ken. Shout out to Jarvis. Shout out to Jarvis who came through. Shout out to Black Warrior Spirit. Shout out to Ken C and Red. Shout out to the whole 5.0, Mrs. Perfect Time and Tracy. Shout out to the whole 5.0 Cool Table representatives. You know what I'm saying? We bubbling slowly. You know, the views, I don't know if it's Johnny Depp, but you know, we got this shit, man. We gonna bubble slowly and we gonna keep rocking, man, and do what our calling. So before I get out of here, it's just family in the house right now. So let's say a prayer for all the family that's in the house right now. Because, you know, when it's numbers like this, I know everybody watching is family. So I just want to say I love you to everybody watching. And we're going to say a prayer and put a blessing in the cover of your life before you get up out of here. GOD, thank you so much for your blessing. Thank you for watching over us. Thank you for guiding us. Let's check the microphone. Thank you for watching over us. Thank you for guiding us. Thank you for your blessings, Father God. We come to you, heads bowed, eyes closed, humble hearts to give thanks. We got to start it off with a thank you, because we could be anywhere right now. We could not have this opportunity. We could not have this intelligence and wisdom. So we started off with a thank you for this ability, for everything you blessed us with, for this direction. We are in reverence. We come to you in reverence and in thanks. And with that, Father, we humbly ask that you continue to divinely inspire the message and bless those who hear the word, hear the message. May it be a blessing unto their life. May their lives be blessed. We pray a covering over everybody listening and watching in real time and on the replay. Safe passage on the highway and byways for my brothers and the truck drivers who listening while they're driving. Success in all your endeavors. And I pray a covering over you and your loved ones. I ask all these blessings in your name. Amen. So thank y'all so much again for another day, another show. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to the family. Ken said, you're right, because right now I'm thinking that anyone that talk about that broad after the show today is late to the party. I mean, it's what we doing over here is powerful work. Thanks to you and Roger for giving other YouTube guys something to talk about. Yep. And the thing about it is, now that we talked about it in that way, they can't talk about it in an ignorant way. There's no more saying that this guy, Roger said this guy is a saint. And I brought up the fact that she gets $1,000 a month, Section 8, and she mismanaged her blessing, that she was foolish and unwise, that the door should have been closed on her. So that changes the conversation going forward. It's the fact that of how me and Roger talk about these things. That's why God put us, because so many people want to be silly. So many people want to make a joke out of black men, including black men. Oh, he bought a cheeseburger. He bought a cheese. This is black men. Black men making light of this subject instead of focusing on the mental illness of this woman, instead of using the example of the welfare mind state. We've talked about this welfare queen. We've talked about Rakisha. Now we have videotape of her. There's no longer saying who hurt you, you butt hurt, or your mama is black. No, we have an example of a mentally ill person. It's the same thing with the nuclear physicist. The nuclear physicist gave us an example of a mentally ill person. It took an older black woman to say, you are embarrassing us because you can't recognize good. And other black men are saying, we've been telling you that they can't recognize good. And now here it is again. Black men, we've been telling you that these black women can't recognize good, that these black women are not good mothers, that they mentally don't understand what it means to be a good mother. She truly did not understand that it was her responsibility to take care of those kids. That's the sad part. The cognitive dissonance. She truly did not understand that she was at fault, that she was wrong for expecting more. And so many years we've been in this space trying to convince the world of what black men have had to deal with. Thank God for social media. Thank God for TikTok. Thank God for going live on Instagram and Facebook. If you could not go live on Instagram and Facebook, black men would still be in the manosphere trying and screaming, trying to explain our plight, explaining to the world that there is a black woman who prefers poverty. There is a black woman who does not understand poverty, and that poverty can be passed down. There is a black woman who prefers poverty, who is anti-capitalism, who is anti-democracy, who is anti-do for self. There is a black woman. We've been saying this. She's raising kids. You guys don't want her to raise kids. Black men have been screaming this. Black men have been screaming this. Hey, there is a black woman over here. Y'all need to get this bitch. Y'all need to get this bitch, blood. This bitch is running rampant. She is destroying America. She is destroying America. Get this bitch. We've been saying it. This broken bitch is the reason why you have homosexuality, why you have gangs, why you have murder in the black community. If anybody, the baby mama terrorists, if anybody wanted to understand how you make the young men in Chicago who are killing people, That black woman in that video, her lack of understanding of accountability is how you create these homo thugs. That woman is raising future gang members. That woman is raising future murderers. That woman is raising future criminals. Do y'all get what I'm saying about her logic? She thought she was right, so right that she filmed it. If you want to know why there's so many gangs, if you want to know why black men hate their fathers, if you want to know why they say don't big bro me, if you want to know why every rap song is saying my daddy didn't come pick me up, why black men hate each other, why black men kill other black men, you saw it in that video. You saw the programming. That little boy is going to hate his father. That hate manifests itself into hate for other black men. She was going to go back in that apartment, to that Section 8 apartment that she don't pay for, and she's going to talk negatively about this. We haven't talked about this yet. She's going to go back into that apartment, and she's going to do a hell of a job on that son. That son is not going to love or respect his father or black men anymore. She just created a murderer. She just created a murderer. A black man wanted to feed and love his son, and the black woman just showed you how gang members and gangbangers are created. I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, king of my jungle, just a gangster stalking, living life like a firecracker, quick as my fuse. I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, king of my jungle, just a gangster stalking, living life like a firecracker, quick as my fuse. Quick as my fuse, like a woman, living life like a firecracker, quick as my fuse, like a woman, women-led, raised by women. I am a nightmare walking, psychopath talking, king of my jungle, just a gangster stalking, living life like a firecracker, quick as my fuse. Vendetta's the debt is the colors I use. Colors, colors. Colors, 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 colors,